Good morning, my lovely students. Today we are having song part 2. Are you ready to take this lesson? Excellent. Let's start. In today's lesson, you will be able to ask and answer questions using the past simple of the verb be. So, before we start our lesson, let's recall the previous words together. So, do you remember this word? Great! Amusement park. What about this one? Excellent! Swimming pool. And the last one? Great! Home. Well done. Now, let's listen to the words one more time.
Module 8. Where were you yesterday? Song 1. Vocabulary. Amusement park. Swimming pool. Home.
You will find this lesson in your student's book page 97 and in your workbook page 94. I would like to start the lesson by asking you this question. How can you ask about things that happened in the past? Do you have an idea? Interesting. So, by using this form of question, which is, where were you yesterday afternoon? You will be able to ask about things that happened in the past. Look at the grammar books. Now, let's read it together. Where were you yesterday morning? I was at the amusement park. He was at the amusement park. She was at the amusement park. It was at the amusement park. You were at home. We were at home. They were at home. Excellent. Now, inside the books, there are red words. What are they? Can you read them for me? Great! Where were, yesterday, was, and where. In which tense are was and were used? Perfect! In the past tense. Let's take a close look at the past tense of the verb be. When we have the pronouns I, she, he, and it, we use was because they are singular, one person or one object. And when we have the pronouns they, we, and you, we use were because they are plural, more than one person or more than one object. Let's read more examples. I want you to look at this picture and answer this question. Where were Khalid yesterday morning? Excellent! He was at Katara. Well, now I want you to give me examples about yourself. Where were you yesterday afternoon? In picture number 1. Great! I was at the mall. What about the second picture? Excellent! I was at the restaurant. Let's have another question. Where were you yesterday evening? Excellent! I was at the park. What about the other picture? Well done! I was at home. Now, I have the last question for you. Where were you last night? So in picture number 1, excellent! I was at the museum. What about the second picture? Great! I was at the library. Great work, my lovely students. Now, it's time to assess your understanding of the grammatical rule. You may open your workbook page 94. You are going to answer activity number 2, in which you are going to read the questions, look at the pictures, and write your answer. Let's read number 1 as an example. 1. Where was Clark yesterday afternoon? He was at the swimming pool. Now question number 2. Where was Jane yesterday morning? Number 3. Where were Ali and Omar yesterday evening? Number 4. Where were Clara and Rita last night? You may pause the video and answer the questions. Well, was this activity easy for you? Great! Glad to know that. Now, the answer for question number 2 is great! She was at the amusement park. And the answer for question number 3, they were at school. Excellent! And the answer for the last question, good! They were at home. You did a great job, my lovely students. Let's move to activity number 3, in which you are going to answer about yourself. Question number 1. Where were you yesterday morning? Question number 2. Where were you yesterday afternoon? Question number 3. Where were you yesterday evening? And question number 4. Where were you last night? You may pause the video and answer the questions. I'm very sure that your answers are amazing. Let me show you my answers. My answer for question number 1 is I was at school. And for question number 2 is I was at home. And for question number 3, I was at the mall. And for question number 4, I was at the restaurant. And here I have a very interesting game for you, in which you are going to read the question, look at the picture, and choose the correct answer. Are you ready for this game? Great! Let's start. The first question is, where were you yesterday morning? Look at the picture and tell me which answer you are going to choose. Is it I was at school, I am at school, or they are at school? Remember that you can answer the question with I was or we were. But in this question, you are going to choose excellent. I was at school. The second question is where were you last night? Again, look at the picture and tell me which answer you are going to choose. Is it I am at home, I was at home, or they are at home? Perfect! I was at home. The third question is where were you yesterday afternoon? Look at the picture and tell me which answer you are going to choose. Is it they are at the park, he was at the park, or we were at the park? Excellent! We were at the park. The last question in this game is where were you yesterday evening? Look at the picture again and tell me which answer you are going to choose. Is it I am at the restaurant, we are at the restaurant, or we were at the restaurant? Fantastic! We were at the restaurant. You did a great job, my lovely student. Excellent. Now we will move to our student's book to practice our speaking skill. Let's read the question and the answer. Where were you yesterday morning? I was at the amusement park. Now, I want you to use this box to answer the following questions. Where were you yesterday afternoon? Great! I was at the beach. Where were you yesterday evening? I was at the pet shop. Where were you last night? I was at home. Excellent work, my lovely students. And now, my dears, it's time to assess your speaking skill. I want you to grab your notebook and write the answers to the questions on your notebook. You may use the blue box as a bank for you. I am quite sure that you don't need it. So question number 1. Where were you yesterday morning? As for me, I was at school. Question number 2. Where were you yesterday afternoon? As for me, I was at the toy shop. Question number 3. Where were you yesterday evening? As for me, I was at the restaurant. And the last question, where were you last night? And as for me, I was at home. This is the end of our lesson for today. Thank you and see you soon.